The ACC is concluding their season with Clemson, who's been powerhouse over the last decade or so. Kind of slowed down a little bit, but still in the championship game with a chance to be in the CFP. Going against SMU, a team that it seems like everybody but you, Zach, thought, would be maybe bottom of the barrel of this conference, but has risen up. What has impressed you about SMU to this point?
Well, I remember I texted you this summer and I said I like SMU to win the ACC this year. So that was my one. I'm not great with those, but that was my one kind of crazy pick that panned out. Yeah, I mean, coming into the year, like I liked what they had last year. They had a great year last year in the American. I thought Preston Stone being back, he's young, talented. I kind of thought he was going to be the guy and whatever, but they've done it really a different way. Obviously, Stone isn't starting anymore, but it's Kevin Jennings, and he's been awesome. But I mean they're dynamic offensively. Rhett Lashley is great young coach, kind of similar to Kenny Dillingham with ASU. SMU is just a really, really, really good offense all around, and they've put a lot together defensively too this year, to at least enough to win 11 games, which is you don't win 11 games without some sort of defense. But yeah, I mean their rushing attack is great. Brashard Smith, I think his name is, the running back. He's put up big numbers this year. Jennings obviously can run it too. And then it's not a deep rushing game. I think it's really just them two. I think they've got a second back that had a few hundred yards, something like that. But their passing game is really fascinating. I think they got like 7 or 8 receivers up above like 250 receiving yards, and none over like 500 or 600. It's a really something I've never seen like that before. It's really fascinating. But they've got a lot of weapons. They'll target anybody in the red zone. They'll target anybody going deep, short. They're really just tough to predict when they're on offense. But yeah, I've liked a lot what I've seen from SMU. I was a little concerned, I will say. Remember, it was a week 0 or week 1. They went to Nevada, who was really bad, and they needed like a half miracle to pull that game out. Nevada ended up winning, I don't know, maybe like 3 games or something. So that I was a little concerned after that game. That loss to BYU was a weird game. Bunch of field goals in that one. Obviously, BYU turned out to be good. It was like 18-15, like a weird – for those two teams, just a weird game. They had some close calls in league play. I remember that game at Duke a couple months back. It was kind of the turning point for them. Duke had the 2-point conversion to win the game or take the lead. Missed it. And I think they also had like a chance at a game-winning field goal that got blocked, if I remember correctly. And Duke was a solid team. Duke wasn't, bad or anything, but they had that close call at Duke. And ever since then, they kind of been just running through everybody in their path. I know Pitt, BC, I think they played a little bit closer of a game, but, again, BC's not a bad team. Cal, I think last week, blew them out. So they've been running through these teams. They've looked really impressive, and I like a lot what I've seen from SMU. And I think regardless of the result of this game, I don't know what they'll do, but they should be in the playoff regardless, in my opinion. You shouldn't get punished for playing an extra game that you earned your way into. I think that's ridiculous. So,
totally agree. I think that's really great analysis there, Zach. Yeah, just starting with, that first game. I mean, that first game was a wild game. Down 13-24 heading into the fourth quarter. And they rattled off 16 straight points, including a touchdown with a minute left to beat Nevada. And then, obviously we didn't know that BYU would be ranked at the end of the season, but that loss to BYU, you're maybe just like, And, coming in, they had 2 quarterbacks. They were trying to do the whole 2 quarterback thing with Preston Stone and Kevin
Yeah.
Jennings. Crazy, like both of them were voted team captain and stuff like that. And I thought that Stone would take the job, but I guess Rhett Lashley just felt more comfortable with Jennings, and he hasn't disappointed. I really like watching him play football. And like you said, the Duke game was crazy. They had to get that blocked. It was like a blocked 30-yard field goal
Yeah.
to hang on. But ever since then, like you said, they've just been running through teams. I know the Virginias and the Cals aren't the most talented teams in the world, but they just blew them both out to end the season. So SMU, a really talented team, and I totally agree. They should be in the CFP. It's ridiculous, like you said.
Yeah.
But Clemson, let's talk about our favorite coach, Dabo Sweeney. What have you seen from him and the Tiger squad this year?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think Dabo is the most beloved coach around the college football world, and I don't blame people for not loving him. He's kind of a little full of himself, but
Yeah,
they kind of backdoored their way into this game. I mean, Syracuse winning that game helped them out, obviously, but they've got obviously great talent, and they always will. I mean, they were no contest in that game against Georgia. I think it was in Atlanta to open the season. It was just pathetic. I mean, it wasn't even close. They've had like that game against Louisville. They looked horrible. Their home loss.
yeah.
They were solid, I guess, decent most of the game defensively against South Carolina last week. Klubnik kind of threw that pick. They kind of fell apart at the end. I don't know. I haven't loved what I've seen from Clemson, to be honest with you. I think there are a couple teams that I think I'd rather see in this game than Clemson. I do think they can absolutely win the game. I think many argue should win the game. But look, they have a chance to make the college football playoff. That's not a lot of teams have that chance.
Right.
So I mean, you never know. I think it would definitely cause a lot of interesting things to go on if they do win. Do they get in? Does Clemson get in? I mean, or do they fall all the way below to like the sixth? I highly doubt that. Considering, I guess they would be in the top six because forget what I said. They would be the sixth conference champion, or the fifth. Sorry, I can't talk. They'd be the fifth conference champion for sure. But yeah, I mean they're here. They've got a chance. Cade Klubnik has had a pretty good year, I'd say. He's obviously very talented. They've got solid receiver. I know Antonio Williams is their go-to guy. He's a very good player. After that, not really like a. I mean, I know they like to target the tight end a lot. I'm blanking on his name, but they've got a couple very solid receivers behind him. Phil Maffa is obviously great year rushing, over 1,000 yards, I believe. Yeah, I mean. They'll run Klubnik too. A lot of these, I think, a big theme in a lot of these games. A lot of teams that will run the quarterback a good amount.
Yeah.
So I think you'll see that with both these teams. But yeah, I mean, Clemson not as good as some of their teams from the past. That's for sure. But they can put up some points. They can also, when they're really kind of locked in, they'll play some good defense. But haven't really had the toughest schedule either, like in conference. Obviously they had that Georgia game to start the year, but they didn't really get like the toughest conference slate.
No.
So who knows? I think Syracuse, Miami, I think teams like that could have put up, maybe just, I think it would be a more fun watch to see, a Syracuse SMU or a Miami SMU. I think that's what everybody was kind of hoping for, but they're here. They're a decent watch. They're a solid team. They've got a chance to make the playoffs. So this is the new world of college football.
Yeah, Totally agree with everything that you said there, Zach. Clemson fans, if any of you are listening to this, we're not trying to disrespect your team or anything, but 0 ranked wins. 0 wins against ranked opponents. And yeah, Klubnik's had a good year statistics-wise, and obviously very talented former 5-star recruit, but in all of the biggest games, he's no-showed.
Yeah.
So that would concern me a little bit if I'm a Clemson fan, because SMU is a good team,
Yeah.
much better than Louisville. I think we would both agree with that. And then I don't know. I personally like the Gamecocks, but you can make an argument that SMU could beat the Gamecocks as well. But yeah, Clemson fans, I think you have a chance here. Your team travels well, got a lot of good fans, going to play hard. And like Zach said, I mean, you got a shot to make the playoff here. So let's go to the predictions now. This game's interesting to me. SMU's favored by 2.5 points. What do you think is going to happen here?
I mean, yeah, I think more so than any other game, except the ones that are, on campus games. I think this will be a big crowd advantage for Clemson. I mean, SMU really doesn't even have that much of a fan base, if we're being honest. No offense, but I watched plenty of SMU games over my life, with them being in the AAC and whatnot. But really this year, the crowds haven't exactly been top notch either. It's far from home. It's obviously really right there in Clemson's backyard. So they'll have that going. I don't know how much of an impact that'll have, but definitely something to note. It'll be a strong Clemson contingent there, at least relative to SMU. In terms of the game, I mean, obviously, I like a lot what I've seen from SMU this year. I think Clemson does provide a pretty tough matchup here. I think this one we're going to see a lot of points in this game. Definitely from SMU. I think that's a problem with Clemson in these bigger games. They just haven't been able to get the stop they needed or stops throughout the game. In the case of South Carolina, it was that last stop. They couldn't get that last stop. In a game like Louisville, they just couldn't really get many stops at all. I think SMU is going to put up a lot of points. I think this is going to be a really high scoring game. I like SMU. I think they kind of prove themselves as the best team in the ACC. I think they cross 40. I'll go 41-34.
Wow, high scoring here. So
you're definitely taking by a touchdown. Yeah,
you're definitely taking the over here.
Yes.
I'm showing a little bias here, but I'm really cheering for SMU.
Yeah, same.
I'm not sure if I can get there though.
Okay.
Clemson is, they got the home field advantage. Obviously, I think SMU is probably the better team, but I could just see them kind of striking out here in this big moment. And Dabo, say what you want about him, but he's played in bigger games than this before. So I'm going to take Clemson 37-28 here.
Okay.
So yeah, we'll see what happens. Let's play this game again. How low is the cheapest ticket? You got it right on the nose last time. Let's see if you can get it again.
Ooh, okay. It's like definitely more expensive. I like this game. We'll go. I have no idea. $38.
Oh my goodness. You are so close. 39 is the
Are you
answer.
serious?
39. Great guesses today.
If there was like a league for guessing this, I think I'd be the best one.
Yes, absolutely.
I'd be the LeBron of the ticket guessing.
Absolutely. Yeah, go LeBron James. Do you think LeBron? Who do you think LeBron would cheer for here?
I feel like LeBron's a Dabo guy. I don't know why.
Okay, yeah. LeBron, if you're watching this, good luck. Clemson fans, SMU fans, good luck. We'll see you in the recap.